It's Nolan.
Yeah, what you know about the first comp and the rent due, and you late. Yeah, what you know about your girl call and a miss due, and she late. Yeah, what you know about showing up to work in the rush and you 30 minutes late. We call them regular days. Yeah, that's just another day. Yeah, try to be punctual, tailor fitted like Huxtables. Feel like I'm sacrificing my pride to be comfortable. Life in an endless cycle, carving a lane to lock in my spot like it's vitiligo. I guess I feel like Michael. The press turning, got my chest burning. Only option left is collect the earnings to make a successful verdict. But shit, I'm 30, trying to get in the game. At this point, what it's gonna say when folks remember my name? Was I your late bloomer? Should I have made it sooner? These out-of-state rumors surfacing on their computers. Part of my frequency, but niggas been tripping, I got the remedy. Trying to belittle me, only tarnish your energy. Forgot my homies handshake in the hood. They say I can't return, I guess they gon' stay there for good. But that's another beast I won't address. My motive set, I'm over that. Focused on this union like the Soviet, it's sobering. Mind playing tricks on me, this shit is brand new. All my niggas got a list of phobias they can't do. Like commitment to their girl, a resistance to the world. I'm just waiting for my moment to unfurl. What you know about the first comp and the rent due, and you late. Yeah, what you know about your girl call and a miss due, and she late. Yeah, what you know about showing up to work in the rush and you 30 minutes late. We call them regular days. Yeah, that's just another day.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music and entertainment commentary and breakdowns. As you can see, we're about to have a good, healthy Let's Talk session. We're going to go over a few things this evening. Number one, we're going to be talking about Cardi B's new Rolling Stone interview, giving a little bit of extra insight into where she is right now. We've already talked about her recent meltdown on social media, going crazy at the fans. We're going to check out the interview, see what her vantage point is currently, try to get some understanding as to what's going on with her. I already feel like, I said it before, I think the label's pressuring her for the album. Even in the promotion of this particular interview, Atlantic Records reposted it and said, if we got to go in Cardi's studio to get the album, to give it to y'all, it is coming. It is one of the most anticipated albums of the year. And it certainly is, if it ever comes. All right, so we're going to get into that. We're going to get into legendary MC Common. Finally, we've got a hip-hop legend that understands what we've been talking about over here on Inside the Industry when it comes to the Drake and Kendrick Lamar battle. He comes out and says, hey, I don't know what everybody else talking about. I don't feel like they went too far. My nigga. We've got rich homie Quan, who was allegedly subpoenaed to appear in court for the Young Thug YSL RICO trial. Don't know what type of information he's going to be offering up in court, if any. But that's the latest. They're saying that he's been called to come give a statement of some sort in the court. And then we're going to get into Kel Mitchell. He has a new interview out where he's been airing some things out about his family, and it seems that those things that he said out in that interview are starting to backfire and also make him look pretty questionable, a little funny in the light, like one of them silver dollars that didn't come from a legit location. All right. We got a couple other things that are not labeled, without the people in the thumbnail, but we'll get to all of that. First, we're going to get into Cardi B and this Rolling Stone interview. If you're new here, I've been doing these types of coverage on when artists do text interviews, like magazines and stuff like that. I'll read through the actual interview just to get a glimpse into their psyche and their perspective. I feel like some of these written interviews give you a little bit more sometimes than a in-person video, mainly because they have time to actually think of their answers a little bit more. They're not on the spot completely. They can make edits and stuff like that before it gets put out to the world. So she's got a new cover story with Rolling Stone. The article is called Cardi B on Proving Her Greatness, I'm That Bitch and Y'all Fucking Know It. So she's already jumping out there with utmost ultimate confidence, which we feel as a collective in hip hop, you know, sometimes that confidence wavers quite a bit when it comes to Cardi. One day she feels like she's on top of the world. The next, it could be a totally different story. Everybody goes through this in life, but she wears it on her sleeve so much that it can kind of sway how you feel about her and her movement at times. All right. So in the article, they say she's on a mission to cement her legacy while handling the pressures of marriage, motherhood, and following up a classic debut. This was put up approximately 3 hours ago. All right. Now I'm going to skip past. Well, maybe I shouldn't skip past because they give a little bit of insight even in the foreword here. So what I will probably do is go ahead and share my screen so y'all can see what's going on here. How about that? All right. So it says Cardi B is makeup free and draped in an orange impossibly plush queen size blanket as she shuffles into Glenwood Place Studios in Burbank, California around 9 o'clock one evening in mid-March. Whatever hairstyle she currently has, knowing Cardi, it could be anything from a wig worth thousands to her fluffy waist-length natural hair, is tucked under a giant bonnet. It's magenta and teal geometric print, immediately familiar from videos she's posted on TikTok. Cardi, who's been handling phone calls and other tasks since 9 a.m., is feeling drained. She's here to work on her upcoming album. Well, there you have it, folks. She's definitely working. Whether or not she want to give it to y'all, she working. All right? Tonight, she's also tasked with what she calls aggressive promotion for a new single, Enough Miami. So this must have took place around the time that song came out. Cardi says, right now I'm getting cursed out because I was supposed to be on Station Head, she says, referring to the live streaming app on which she is expected to be interacting with her fans, Stan Army named Barty Gang. I got 3,000 fans like the bitch. Interesting. She growls, mimicking the fury she suspects is brewing. She does eventually appear on the app, and Enough hit number 1 on Billboard's digital sales chart. I didn't even know about that. Cardi isn't the only star at work in the building tonight. Lizzo pops into Cardi's room to say hello. Look at you, she coos, hugging Cardi. You look like a little angel. I love you. She jokingly encourages Cardi to promote the clothes her shapewear brand Yeti sent Cardi's way, posting tag before announcing that she's off to get some duck. Lucky you, says Cardi. Lucky you. Interesting. Cardi needs coffee. When it arrives, she tears open several packets of sugar and dumps them into her mug, along with some cream. Despite her visceral fatigue, it doesn't take long for her to animate. When she cracks jokes or speaks hyperbolically, there is an undercurrent of laughter that gurgles in her throat, but doesn't always break like a stand-up who knows not to spend too much time giggling at herself. This is all a little bit of fluff, but I felt that it was necessary to just go through it because even in some of those pieces, it gives you glimpses into what's going on surrounding the person. It's easy to forget that the 31-year-old, she's only 31, superstar Bacalus Marlenis Almanzar is only one album deep, one record-breaking Grammy-winning culture-shifting album, but one nonetheless. In 2018, Invasion of Privacy shot Cardi from Instagram theatrics and reality show shenanigans into the stratosphere. Just 3 years prior, she was stripping. Coming on the heels of Bodak Yellow, one of the most important songs in the history of New York rap, the album's emotional range and tight execution helped usher in an era which all kinds of women in hip-hop have broken through and thrived. All right, this is a quote from Cardi. These labels was not believing in repping new rap artists, Cardi says. People from every single label have effing told me this ish in my face. They started signing new female rappers after I got signed. This is very interesting now. Right? The new wave that has been ushered in, for the most part, has come on the heels of Cardi's success and the floodgates open for everybody else to come in and get their shine, get their money, get their, you know what I'm saying? Get their whole movement popping. Whether some bitches could be the greatest rappers or they just make good music, at the end of the effing day, guess what? They're in your playlist right now. Okay, so Cardi popping her shit saying, hey, you know, it became a new day when I came through this motherfucker. Along the way, Cardi became a mother 2 times over without losing herself in the role. Instead, she amped up every part of her being, including her sexuality, making her film debut in Jennifer Lopez Stripper Heist Hustlers, and recording history's greatest ode to the vagina, 2020's WAP with Megan Thee Stallion. She earned more than 1 billion streams for 4 separate songs on Spotify, which she recently celebrated. And she went on a historic feature run, lending her bold personality to rap newcomers like Glorilla, R&B singers like Summer Walker, and Latin stars like Shakira. Despite those accomplishments, the prospect of a follow-up to Invasion of Privacy always loomed over Cardi. She's proclaimed that her sophomore album was coming nearly every year since her first. Along the way, she's worried. Could she match her previous success? Did she have the right songs? In February, her husband and fellow rapper Offset put it to her plainly, stop being scary and drop the album. Shit goes crazy. So I did see some people the other day that felt like Offset is the reason why she's not putting out the album. Some people feel like he's afraid of her overshadowing him. She overshadows him by default. She's a bigger artist than Offset, even with the Migos. Let's be real. And he's been supporting her, even if he's not always there for her in the relationship. As an artist, Set is definitely always telling her to do her shit, to pop out and pop her shit. So, as you can see here in this article, the trend remains. In an Instagram video from March 1st, Cardi promised to do just that, saying she would release the album this year. By the middle of May, however, she will backpedal in a heated online exchange with her followers. As Cardi and Spotify commemorate those 4 songs hitting 1 billion streams each, she'll spot fans on X posting skeptically about the status of the album and fire back. This is a big accomplishment for me, and of course, here comes Barty Gang complaining like, damn, I can't celebrate shit. Anyway, no album this year. I don't care. I'm relaxing. Soon after, however, she'll delete the latter tweet with her rep confirming to Rolling Stone that an album is still in the plan for 2024, which we should have known. Again, the label's not going for the bullshit. They need that album. Like, come on, man. They need that album like my nigga Goku needed Trunks to come back from the future. All right? When we meet this March night in Los Angeles, Cardi is in fact working earnestly towards completing it, but there's a lot left to do. It needs an intro and at least 3 more songs. It needs a title, it needs features, and it needs a rollout plan. Being out here is my punishment, she says. Until I have the album ready, I'm not going home. I'm telling y'all, that's where all her frustration is really coming from. Having spent the past 3 months recording in LA and Miami, cities that are functionally office buildings for her, Cardi is homesick for her bustling mansion just outside her hometown of New York. When I come to LA, I be like, I'm ready to get shit done. Then 8 days in, my mind starts missing home, feeling lonely, and then I be like, girl, as if confronting herself, I miss my kids. So anytime that she's in the studio, basically, she's saying, you know, the first few days of her getting everything done, it's all good, it's all great, it's cool. She's confident. Then after a while, it's like, all right, I got to get back home to my family. That's very understandable. A lot of people don't factor that in to what these artists have going on. Brunson, who has been by her side since 2016, says making music involves a roller coaster of emotions for Cardi. When we good, we knocking them out. Verse after verse, hook, ad libs. I'm like, you done quick, you sure? But when she's going through it, it's going to be a long day. I guess that's in terms of the emotional breakdowns. Cardi holds herself to exorbitant standards. She wants the album to have a wide reach, but also reflect that she's a mosaic of a woman. She says, I'm a different person every single day. When I'm in a good mood and I'm with my friends, I'm like, damn, I want my shit to be played in this club. But then I might be mad with my man, her man, you know. So it's like, now I want to do this song, but then I want to do a pop record. I want to do my singy shit. More than anything, Cardi wants to prove once and for all that the past 6 years haven't happened by luck or hype, and she's working painstakingly, anxiety-inducingly hard to do so. After I leave the studio, Cardi needs to pour over her unmixed and unmastered songs. When I see her next in New York, I watch her punch in lines dozens of times, fixating on every tick, pitch, inflection, accent. She surveys confidants from all walks of life. I have friends that are scammers, she says, and I got bitches that work 9 to 5. On her works in progress, she endorsed the punishment of being away from home. Again, if y'all are catching my drift, she views being in the studio as punishment. So she really don't be in there like that. Even though she got a studio in her crib, she travels to go to the studio on the label's dime to say, get this shit done. Right? So when people doubt her dedication to her craft, it gets under her skin. She says, like yesterday, I was scrolling through TikTok and a bit made me cry. She admits solemnly from the studio couch. She was just like, she has got to give it up. So this is a quote from an online personality that says, she has got to give it up. She's better off being an influencer. You was cosplaying being a rapper because you don't take it seriously. That's why you don't put out your music. So that is a direct quote from a TikToker that was talking about Cardi. She comes back and responds, and it's like, I take my music so fucking seriously that's why I don't put it out, because if it's not perfect to my ear, if every fucking word doesn't sound like it's pronounced right, if the beat is overpowering the words or the words is overpowering the beat, I don't want to put it out. Only thing about that, in my personal estimation, is that's what you have an engineer for mixing and mastering for, is to make sure that everything is perfectly balanced once it's over with. You shouldn't be discouraged by the levels being off on unfinished music. That makes no sense. She continues, when you give so much and somebody just drags it down like you're just playing with your all day, just watching Netflix all effing day long, it's very hurtful. Of course, the album is just one hurdle. Now that Cardi B, the daughter of a Dominican-born cabbie father and a careful Trinidadian mother raised poor in the Bronx, has earned most of what she's wanted, she's been tasked with a new kind of survival, propelling her life, family, and legacy forward without getting stuck in the traps of perfectionism or criticism. And as she works to solidify her status as a rap icon, she struggles to manage the more mortal, but no less important challenges of motherhood and marriage. I don't really care about Cardi B's diet and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? We're going to skip past this. That's cool if y'all like to know that. She eats a lot of crab legs and fish and stuff like that. That's what I can see. Oxtail and shit. Sound like me. Talk about her family playing her music at the house, though she'd rather that they didn't. All right. We're going to skip past some of this. When Cardi was younger, she told herself she'd be a mother by 25, a prophecy she fulfilled at what seemed like an inopportune time. She gave birth just months after Invasion of Privacy dropped, and right as she was planning for a national tour. You remember now, this is for the people that don't like Cardi or say, oh, she ain't been on a tour. She got pregnant when she was about to do her tour. She had 2 kids. Pandemic. It's a lot of things that have derailed her from being able to go out on the road. So there's that, but I'm going to let her speak. She says, I was really, really scared. I just felt like, damn, I'm letting everybody down. I'm letting my family down. I'm letting everybody that works for me down. She backed out of the tour to be home with Culture. My baby was so little, germs in planes and ear popping on a newborn. Can you imagine a baby in an effing tour bus? She compared the first year of motherhood to competing on a game show. Think the obstacle course on vintage Nickelodeon's Legend of the Hidden Temple, only on 2 hours of sleep. It effed me up. Yo, postpartum is something you can't even explain. I can only imagine what that's like. So many people go through postpartum in the privacy of their own home, trying to go back to work, just existing. You know what I'm saying? But trying to do that as a rapper and trying to balance touring and stuff like that, nobody understands. There's only a few people in this world that understand that. I ask her if she means postpartum depression. She says postpartum everything. It becomes depression because it's a drastic change. When she had Wave in 2021, she was better able to stay afloat. She found reprieve in a trip to Paris soon after he was born. but also at her local IHOP, interesting, where she'd often roll solo for Banana Foster pancakes. Okay? We're going to skip past a little bit of the parenting stuff because although I appreciate her transparency about all of that, that's not what I'm trying to get out of this. We know she's a mother. I know for sure she's a mother and she wants to be a great one. All right. In December, Cardi filmed herself on Instagram Live while she was at her wit's end, and it was gutting. This motherfucker really liked to play games with me, so this is where she was going in on Offset ass. This motherfucker really liked playing games with me when I'm at my most vulnerable time. Only her head above the neck and her slender, frantic, stiletto-nailed fingers were in the frame as she hollered, her voice cracking and face slipping off camera as she went on. You really been doing me dirty after so many effing years, and it's so crazy that I gotta go to the effing internet because whenever I tell you something, you don't take shit seriously, and I'm so tired, and I'm so fucking tired of this bitch-ass nigga. Again, she was talking about Offset. But later, she'd revealed to the world that things are more complicated. In February, she went on a Valentine's Day date with him and was caught trying to hide makeup smudged from making out. The next month, she'd clarified that despite the breakup, she was still married. She doesn't include Offset when she lists the people who live with her, but later says when Offset comes around, he comes around, so he's a helping hand too. In recent weeks, the couple attended a Knicks game and a Met Gala after party together. For Mother's Day, Offset gifted Cardi 3 diamond chains and covered her mansion in flowers. So they still smashing. They still doing what they do, man. They just go through their ups and downs. Cardi B and Offset began dating in 2017 when Offset's rap trio Migos were hip-hop's hottest and most trend-setting unit, ATL. She'd had some rough dating experience with boyfriends, including one who'd overpower her in their physical fights. Oh, wow. Damn. Didn't know nothing about that. And another who made her feel she was too broke, too skinny, too loud, somehow too much, yet never enough, she says. Once I cut him off and I stopped caring about what he thought about me, she says, I started doing videos on IG. That's how I got famous, because I was like, F him. Interesting. Did not know all of that about Cardi. In Offset, she finally found a partner who built her up instead of breaking her down. When I met Offset, he was super rich, and I just got my first $200,000 in the bank. He never made me feel like I was little to him. He actually always used to tell me, you a superstar. Watch. Right? Cardi and Offset got married at home in sweatpants in 2017, September. Cardi's white with metallic trim. Offset's black. I ain't got it. Fuck all that. Though Offset later proposed to Cardi flashingly at one of her shows, complete with an 8-carat ring. Cardi moved in with Offset in Atlanta, his hometown, but hated it, feeling isolated. Did not know that she didn't enjoy being in Atlanta either. All right. The couple appeared on the cover of Rolling Stone in 2018, but there were other challenges, not the least of which was Offset's infidelity. Cardi told Vogue in 2020 that her husband had cheated, but they had worked through it. Later that year, Cardi filed for divorce, explaining that it was not due to cheating, but misalignment. I just got tired of effing arguing. I got tired of not seeing things eye to eye. But less than 2 months later, Cardi withdrew her claim, and the next year they celebrated Wave's arrival together. So, as you can see, it's just a tumultuous thing there. Wishing them the best. In 2022, Cardi was sentenced to 15 days of community service for separate attacks on a pair of bartenders at a strip club in Queens 4 years prior in what authorities alleged stemmed from a romantic rivalry over Offset. She pleaded guilty to the charges against her before trial was set to start, saying she was modeling accountability for her children. She's faced other legal issues over the years, including a successful lawsuit against a defamatory blogger. Y'all know who she's talking about, ThatsMe. She's currently a defendant in a suit related to an alleged assault on a security guard that's slated to go to trial in August. We talked about that yesterday as well. In LA, I asked Cardi what she cherishes in her marriage and what's been difficult. The question seems to suck the air out of the room, but she answers calmly. The part I love is that we really like each other like a support system. We're really both each other's cheerleader. I don't really like talking to people. I'm not as social. If I want something from somebody, he'll be the one that will talk because I don't like asking. When she gets to the challenges in her marriage, I'm surprised to hear her zero in on her own shortcomings. She says, we have our own bad stuff. We're from two different worlds. Sometimes I cannot be, not that I cannot be a wife. It's just like my career takes my life. My career comes first, then my kids come second, and then sometimes I don't realize that I'm putting so many things before my relationship. Right? She says, I tell her that sounds accountable, like she's saying there's room for me to grow in a relationship too. Damn. She comes back. She says, I don't want to grow. I remember last year when we was going through our hard time and it's like, put your album out. You're overstressing. When was the last time we went on a vacation? And it's like, I don't got time to go on a vacation because this comes first. This comes first and then my kids come second. The little things I have to take care of then comes. I sometimes feel like I do probably put my relationship last. All right. Now let's get to the second album. You know, we know enough about Offset and Cardi to know what the fuck be going on, even if we don't. Once Cardi drops her second album, she'll finally tour. Interesting. Which will mean missing culture and wave for long stretches. Would she consider a residency of the sort Adele and Usher have taken up? Cardi says no. You gotta go for everybody from different states. That's how I promoted my mixtape. So she doesn't feel like a residency would be the opportune thing for her at this time. I fucks with that. Someone says, the guy, you're also not in the same position you were when you did that, I offer. She says, yeah, but somebody might not be able to afford a ticket to go see you in a residency in Vegas. Somebody could just afford a $200 ticket, but they can't afford a $200 ticket and then a flight. And you got to touch everybody. That's why I feel like a lot of these people don't have fan bases because they never touch the people. They just become famous. And they never went to a Chitlin circuit. They never been to Greenville, North Carolina. They never fucking went to a Baton Rouge type of shit. Now, this is real. I appreciate when Cardi starts talking about stuff like this because a lot of artists don't really know about this thing. Especially today when artists like Four Bats or whomever comes out, they've never done a real live show, right? They just go viral on TikTok and all of a sudden they become professionals. Money is on the line. Ice Spices of the world. And then they get in front of the actual fans live and they fucking tank. It's not really their fault, you know, but it's just the way that it plays out because you've never done the open mics. You never done the showcases. You never went through, you know, actually trying to win people over in a physical live space, which cannot be substituted for anything, right? If you walk into a space and you can't win over that space, that shit does something to you. I can tell you because I've been in that position before. I've won over most crowds in my day, my heyday of traveling, going to other cities and states. But sometimes niggas just ain't fucking with you. But it builds your character, it builds your live show, it builds your endurance. You become better. Not to mention she's talking about going to these smaller cities. The Chitlin Circuit, for those that are not familiar with what the Chitlin Circuit is, it's prototypically going to southern states. Like she said, you're going to Greenville, North Carolina. You're going to Baton Rouge. You're going to Montgomery. You're going to fucking Little Rock, Arkansas. You're going to, these smaller markets. You're not just going to LA, Atlanta, and New York to get popping, right? And in these cities, you're collecting bags similar to what JT is doing, right? And this is where I do salute her. My only thing with JT was like, you've been in the game 6 years popping, right? Y'all should have actually gone through that phase to evolve, but not talking about her. That is the process. Furthermore, when she first got popular as a dancer, she recalls she hit little clubs for just $2,000 running around the country in her old manager's PT Cruiser. As a rapper, she remembers, I went to Mississippi, a small town, and they was having a slap fighting contest. God damn. She said, I had the best time of my life. I remember one time when I went to Memphis, and oh my gosh, I couldn't even see because it was smoked out. They was having a banana sucking contest. Oh, Lordy. I loved it. Or one time in North Carolina, they literally had me performing in a barn. There was a lot of people in there. So Cardi's giving y'all her performance experience that a lot of people probably don't remember or know about, because in 2018, the documentation wasn't like what it is today. One of the ways Cardi B measures success is by the rate at which ordinary people consume her music. Take Like What Freestyle, which she released after an online hiatus. It debuted at number 38 on the Hot 100, and while some may have higher expectations of her, she says it was satisfying. Quote, I think it was good for a freestyle that they even debuted it. I feel good because every other day I see so many people TikToking, doing videos, rapping it, so I know that real people is listening to my shit, which is exactly why you shouldn't have got online cussing out your fans. Cardi emerged on the scene as a people's princess from a working class background, and she's been vocal on social issues too, from New York City and state government to Social Security and immigration. A political junkie with an encyclopedic recollection of American presidents. Interesting. She became a sought-after pundit, endorsing and interviewing Bernie Sanders and then Joe Biden as they pursued the presidency. I think they overhyped her a little bit on the political front, but hey, do what you do, Rolling Stone. Again, we're going to skip past some of this. I really just want to get to the music of it all. What is this? As we talk politics, Cardi is mindful of her words. With her life under a microscope, she's struggled lately with how much to open up on anything. The impulses that have made her both a public darling and tabloid target are similar. She's had an uncanny willingness to be staunchly opinionated and bewilderingly honest, to be imperfect on camera, to divulge the typically embarrassing. Now, even on her album, she's been hedging. This is a quote, I really want to talk about the life changes that I've been dealing with the past 6-7 years, she says of her new music, but then it's just like I feel like people don't deserve to know because people use my pain against me. Shortly after that video eviscerating Offset, Nicki Minaj, oh shit, with whom Cardi has had a hostile relationship for years, posted a photograph of Michael Jackson gleefully peering out of a car window, which many thought mocked Cardi's furor. A flurry of blogs and commentators ran stories about the perceived slight. Cardi's assumed response, take your man to a park and leave me alone. Come on now, you knew what it was. Don't be talking about assumed. And the women's warring fan bases. So as Cardi opened up about a breakdown in her marriage, an online ecosystem turned it to gossip fodder and stan war artillery. But for as much as she shares online, Cardi would say that she's actually prone to keep even more to herself. She calls herself a lonely sufferer. All right, back to the music if we can. 3 weeks later, it's 2 a.m. in New York, and Cardi B is at Jungle City Studios trying to perfect 2 couplets on a new song. She gives it 13 takes before Brunson, the engineer, suggests some tea. Okay, back to the studio. Right now, Cardi is prioritizing songs from the album that have features or need them placed. She wants them to sound irresistible to the artist, who she says span a gamut of rappers and singers. She also mentions she had fun working on a song with DJ Khaled, but won't confirm what for. Probably his album. I can only hear the new song seeping out of her headphones. I catch the Afro-Caribbean energy of the beat, then hear Cardi singing speedily in a rather high register. With every few attempts at the line she's trying to get down, she and Brunson work on tweaks, bringing the pitch down, rapping them more, and even changing the lyrics slightly. Sounds fucking terrible, Cardi mutters. Don't be hard on yourself, Brunson says brightly. This feels like a book club, don't it? I might have to start doing some shit like that. So, at least we do know in the draft she's got some Afro-Caribbean shit coming. I don't know if I want to hear it, because we saw how that went with bongos. I was not a fan, but we'll see. If it's some more like I like it like that, I don't think that falls into Afro-Caribbean though. Please don't do another bongos. Furthermore, I'm surprised that Cardi is back on the East Coast after having banished herself to Los Angeles to finish the album. She tells me a lot of her family has moved out of her house, leaving just Marcelito to help with the kids. She has to look for a nanny, something she's deeply uneasy about. Okay. She is particularly frustrated that some of her fans expect her to churn out social media content in the midst of all of this. Some even went to her social media manager to complain. They snatched him in a group chat. She says, like, hey, us Barty gang, we want to express something to you. And I guess he was like, okay, let me take your suggestions. And they was like, well, Cardi is not really doing anything. I don't think they really give a fuck about your lack of social media content. It's the fact that you ain't putting out records. And if you're not putting out records, they want you to be active on social. It's kind of one or the other. We're going to skip some more of this stuff. So just bear with me. The tension Cardi brought with her to Jungle City melts away as she and Brunson play some favorite beats from the album. She's recorded lyrics to them, but she's not ready to share those just yet. The track list and song titles are not final either. Better Than You reminds me of UGK and Outkast's International Players Anthem. Very interesting. That's what I want to hear. Like, what are the vibes going on? Like, what are we to expect from a Cardi B follow-up? If she's not gonna follow the same exact formula from the first album, what do these original sounds hit on? That's what I like to hear. Okay? So the song, as of now, is called Better Than You. It probably will change. You know how impulsive she is with song titles. With the pitched up vocal sample, rich violin-like synths, and rolling southern drums. Rolling southern drums gives me hope. Cardi notes that its sound, courtesy of the producer Vinyls is fire, with whom she's known since her days as a dancer, is brand new for her. Yeah, we haven't really heard her on too much sample-based music. But I'm hoping that it's not none of that cheesy ass sample. I hope it's like really soulful chop shit. She says, I feel like the beat is not a beat you could get rowdy on. It's a real calm beat, and I had two choices. I could do more of an inspirational type of record. I used to grind all my life, but then I decided to be like, no, I'm going shit on you bitches, which is that's your strong point. When they play another beat, this one is for a song called Pick It Up. Cardi's face brightens. She hums with her eyes closed, throwing her head back, starbursting her fingers. It's one of her pop radio songs, she says, sugary with high fem twinkles and chimes and keys that are distorted like a funhouse mirror. Cardi rounds out the preview with a sexy drill production from her regular collaborator Swanko, probably. I don't know how to say that shit. Who produced Like What, Freestyle, Up, and more. Okay, cool. So it's probably going to be some upbeat shit. It's called Don't Do Too Much, and it's glittery and animated with a playful whistle. As its through line, Cardi says she gets some jokes off on it. If it was up to me, my whole album would sound like drill. Please don't do a whole drill album. I know that's the sound in New York, but no. I had to give you the Kendrick no on that shit. No. In fact, there are a few left field approaches she's ruminated on. She says, you see how Beyonce is doing a country album type shit, and it's just, she's doing what she likes. If it was up to me, I would do songs like Erotica, because that's what I like. I like Madonna's Erotica, Justify My Love. If I was on that level of Beyonce's I would do songs like that. But for now, Cardi thinks she still needs to do her due diligence in hip hop more traditionally first. So she talking about trying to go do Madonna type music. Whoa. Please don't do that. We don't want to hear you hop in the booth and sound like Eddie Murphy. You know what I'm saying? She wants to party all the time, party all the time, party all the time. No! Cardi is ruthless with producers. Most beats tend to bore her. It's like, just come ready, she says, because I'm a really quick person. I can relate to that. Man, you could send me 100 beats, I'll probably choose 6. She says, because I'm a really quick person. I give you a description, what I want to hear, what I like, how I sound, what I've been listening to lately. Y'all come, y'all play me y'all shit. If I don't like it, it's like, sorry, next time. We see each other on that. Okay, she likes Cash Cobain, who's also from the Bronx. Didn't he recently work with Ice Spice? Boom, boom, boom. We're going to skip past some of that. Cool. In the 7 years since Bodak Yellow, a new crop of artists from New York from all over have come of age with Cardi as a North Star. She says, I know for a fact I'm a staple. After having fretted about making a statement, cementing her place, and besting herself with her next album. She says, I know for a fact that I opened a fucking door. I know for a fact that I can rap. I know for a fact I make fucking hits. Sometimes people be trying to belittle me, and it's like, no, I'm that bit, and y'all fucking know it. She pulls out her phone and beckons me near. She says, I want you to see this. This is not even about bragging. She opens up a text conversation with the manager, pulling up a graphic detailing a performance offer that looked to be for $1.5 million. She says that's for one show. In the text chain, the manager mentions that he thinks he can get it up to $2 million. Damn. Let me hold some bit money. She seems to think back to the TikTok that made her cry. If I was doing things for money, she says, I would put out music every month because nothing pays me more than shows. I'm turning down these concerts because I don't got no new music. She's confident that if she wanted to, she could milk her star power to no end. She says, but I care about how my music sound. I care about my quality. I care about giving something special every single time. There you have it. All right. So her excuse or her reasoning as to why she hasn't been dropping that much is because she wants it to be high quality, right? She wants to have no corner unturned. That's the way she's making it appear. Sounds like she's got more than enough music. But as I told y'all, her ear is quick. Because I know how artists work. I'm an artist myself. Once you make a song and you don't get it out there and you don't capitalize on the energy of it in that moment, you're going to move on from it and want to make something else. And when you make something else, it's like the new car smell. It's like, you're chasing that all the time as an artist. And once it wears off, it just don't hit the same when you get back in. You still going to roll that bitch, but it don't hit the same. You're not excited about it. And if that feeling, those butterflies are what's contingent upon you releasing music, you gotta capitalize on it in the moment, which I wish she would have done. She could have dropped 2-3 solid EPs. But again, I feel like she's been milking to a degree because she's getting offers for $1.5 million, $2 million to do a show. If she drops a brick of an album, those offers go down exponentially. So I think she has been riding it out strategically. All right, we're going to move on from Cardi, though. We're going to get to Common and his commentary. Oh, shit, I'm good. Of the Kendrick Lamar and Drake battle. Because I told y'all earlier, he said he don't feel like they went too far. So I do want to go ahead and play his thoughts on that. All right. He recently went on Carmelo Anthony's show with Mero. 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. So let's hear what Common had to say.
And battling.
Hold on, let me turn that shit down. These niggas loud as hell, boy.
Is it a criteria that you have to have?
Hell yeah. For me, it's
what is as a hip hop original? You stamped
MC,
you're stamped in the hip hop history, culture.
Yeah.
What is the criteria?
Well, in a battle, man.
And not to cut you off, is there a too far? Because that's been brought up a lot.
Okay.
Yo, you going too far? You doing too much?
Yeah, listen, in a battle, first of all, I think the criteria is you gotta have lyrics that is like saying something that's like, man, I'm lighting this nigga up.
So
like
lyricism
is there. Like, just it's gotta be lines that punch. They punch. Like you gotta hit, and they gotta, and I like wordplay with that too. Like, but if what you saying is just clever and it's got punch, to me that's part of it. Then part of it is like where I feel like Kendrick and these guys was taking it, and is they style like I was like, damn, these dudes styling with Because usually when cats get into a battle, they just rapping
It's raw,
they
yeah.
regular style. Boom, boom. But these dudes was styling, so I felt like they was really like, it was a real bout with them, with Kendrick and Drake. But that being said, in any battle, you gotta, if you could drop styles on that shit, because that's what KRS was doing too back in the day with Boogie Down Productions. Yeah, he was dropping styles and dissing, like you couldn't help but say, bye, like, you know, like, what's the matter with you? You know, so that's another level. And I still think choosing a dope beat matters too, because you want people to be like, just rocking that shit, like boom, like
DJ throw it on in the club type shit.
Yeah, like if you can get it in the club, that's a win-win. but you want niggas to be like, okay, damn, this beat cold. Like I think Jay did good when he was choosing, ROC was running that beat was don't. That shit was So I think that's some of the things that now is it a too far? I feel like for me the too far is like when you talk about people that have died, or if somebody's family members died and or they dealing with a terminal sickness. I think that's, for me, that's just me.
Family is off limits.
Yeah. I mean, when it come to that level, I ain't gonna really go too much at family, but I guess I ain't gonna be a hypocrite. I did on the Drake joint said something about, but I was playing on words, saying son of a bitch, something your father is, but I didn't think about going to the family, because I ain't have all that information and all that. No, but I gotta say, with the stuff they did, I wasn't like, for me, I wasn't like, this is too far. I just was like, damn, this is really incredible battle.
You said, damn,
this shit ain't no rules in war.
It's a war. It's a war.
No rules in war.
Yeah.
What's the key for all the young MCs out there watching? Because there's a lot of y'all. I see y'all freestyling in the comments. Right? You know what I'm saying? What's the one key takeaway from this?
From the battle? I think, man, if you get into something, know what you're getting into, and be prepared. And like, man, you do want to size up who you're going up against to know, like, am I ready for this war? It's something in the Bible that say, man, don't go against an army if you only got like 10 and they got 10,000. You got to size it up and say, I ain't ready for that war. Yeah. But this battle was, to me, was a heavyweight, because it was like they was going back and forth. They was doing what they, I respected each, what each one delivered. And I think, to me, no matter what, it's like, have you worked on your craft? Have you worked on being a real MC? Because that's when it's needed. Like you could be a hit maker and be like, make joints that we all love. But when it gets to the battle, you gotta have lyrics. Yeah. And that's what I gotta say. Both Kendrick and Drake delivered lyrics in this battle.
Bars.
It was bars, man, that you say that you be like, yo, you heard this person say that? Yo, you said that. And that's what we loved in hip hop from the beginning. And I think it'll always be there. So I think it's just, to the youngins, it's like, man, work on them lyrics, man. Make sure you can go to a place where if they ain't got no music and it's just people standing around from different walks of life, that you could kick a rhyme a cappella and niggas gonna respond.
There we have it. Legendary MC Common, aka Common Sense. I totally agree with pretty much everything Common said in this fucking interview concerning that battle. I don't have anything that I refute or would contend with. He said everything. He said it's no limitations, right? Very few, really. Deceased family members, that's very sensitive, and who wants to really play with some shit like that anyway? And then he said, if you got family members or people around you that are terminally ill, he says he's not really a fan of that, which we saw Pusha T take aim at 40's health condition or whatever during their battle with Drake. But outside of that, Common says, hey, all is fair. Long as you come with the proper weaponry, your team is strong, and you feel confident, you've practiced on your craft enough to go head-to-head with another counterpart, lay it all out on the table, right? We definitely got that. I'm not going to lie, man. That energy there, that shit that was going on about a week or so ago, that shit was crazy. And I'm gonna be honest, man. That nigga Kendrick dropped some fucking classics back to back to back, and he worked on all this shit in one session. Every song we heard came from one night in the studio. Of course, he did go back and change some shit. I think Not Like Us was probably made later. I ain't gonna cap. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I feel like niggas been giving out bad information with that. But them other joints, you knew they was coming because, well, you didn't know they were coming, but you knew that they were already done because of the way that he was able to drop them. Right? For him to be able to drop 616 in LA. I mean, he had dropped fucking Euphoria, and within a couple days, the nigga dropped 616 in LA at the top of the day. Drake comes and drops fucking Family Matters, and 20 minutes later, this nigga dropped Meet the Grrrls, and then the very next day, he comes back and tucks the nigga Summer in with They Not Like Us. Like, just a fucking amazing. You know what I'm saying? And even as much as I didn't enjoy the Meet the Grrrls beat when I first heard it and listened to it for the first couple of days, I still go back and listen to that song and enjoy it as its own song apart from the battle. So I think he did succeed on that front. In making a memorable song. I know some people say you got to be insane to listen to it. I don't really think so. If you remove Meet the Grrrls from the scope of the battle, it actually doesn't sound that creepy to me. But when you bring it into the battle and the timing and the way everything worked out, it does kind of come across a bit spooky, but nah. You know what I mean? It's not like no Friday the 13th shit. So, you know, salute to Common on that. You know, he had his own riffraff with Drake. He had that song called Sweet that he put out. He was calling him a sweet ass nigga. He said, man, you come to my hood, niggas, and knock your bitch ass out, Joe. Hit him with that Chicago slang. Charlie. You come to my hood, nigga, that treat you like a little bitch ass nigga that you is, Joe. Hey, man, do me a favor. Go check out Sweet by Common. If you've never heard it or if you haven't heard it in a while, go back and listen to that shit. That nigga monologue on that bit was funny as hell, man. Like, just go back, man. Like, you go fucking crack up. I'm telling you. So salute to that. What else we got on the docket here? Rich homie Quan being subpoenaed to go to the RICO for Young Thug. All right. Okay. Rich homie Quan to testify in Young Thug RICO trial after being subpoenaed by the state. The state would be Georgia. All right. According to social media user Thugger Daily, who's been giving, I guess, daily updates about Young Thug, his former collaborator, Rich homie Quan, has been served a summons to take the stand at the trial as a witness. The same account also claims that Quan has previously given a police statement that will be read in court. Interesting. What statement is that? Quan will not necessarily provide evidence against Thug during his appearance on the witness stand. Quote says, Rich homie Quan has officially been subpoenaed by the state. He's expected to take the stand in the upcoming few weeks. Just to be clear, this does not mean he cooperated or will cooperate with the state. Lil Wayne may also be called to testify in the trial after Fulton County prosecutors tried to play videos of him speaking about Thug in the courtroom, but Judge Earl Glanville refused to allow it unless Wayne came to the floor to testify himself. This issue relates to the 2015 shooting of Wayne's tour bus, which the prosecution claim Thug was behind. They claim he hired affiliate Pee Wee Roscoe to carry it out. Roscoe was eventually sentenced to 10 years in prison and 10 years of probation over the matter, but his conviction was overturned 3 years later in 2018. Though Lil Wayne may end up in the courtroom, one rapper who will not be called to testify is Gunna Wanna. Okay, so maybe he does look like a saint. The YSL rapper who previously accepted a controversial plea deal in the case will not be called to take the stand after the judge ordered the prosecution to cut down on the number of witnesses they plan to question. So they were still going to try to call him even though he Alfred pleaded. There were originally over 700 witnesses put forward by the state, but now only 200 could be called to take part in the trial. That's still a lot of motherfuckers. Gunna's name was removed from the revised witness list, as was Thug's brother Unfunk, who was previously sentenced to over 9 years in prison. Birdman and YFN Lucci could also still be called to testify as they remain on the government's witness list. Excuse me. Gunna has faced numerous accusations that he snitched on Thug to secure his plea deal, something he has repeatedly denied, and Young Thug's father has also said, leave Gunna alone, he ain't got shit to do with this, please. So I'm inclined to believe, at the bare minimum, this nigga daddy has been there the whole every step. So if Thug daddy say, leave that nigga alone, you might got to leave the nigga alone. Following his plea deal, Gunna attempted to set the record straight by saying, while I have always agreed to be truthful, I want to make it perfectly clear that I have not made any statements, have not been interviewed, have not cooperated, have not agreed to testify or be a witness for or against any party in the case, and have absolutely no mention of being involved in the trial process in any way, he said in a statement following his release from jail. I hate to say it, but you did at least acknowledge that you were a part of a gang. So you had to admit that to even get the plea. Am I mad at you for saying it? Hell fucking no. But we got to acknowledge the truth if we're going to acknowledge anything. All right. Next up, Kel Mitchell. You might need some orange soda on this one, Kel. So, again, I told you at the top of the show, he recently did an interview where he talked about his family and some things that made him uneasy while living in the Hollywood lifestyle, things that turned him away, right? He's got this clip here on Club Shay. It says, Kel Mitchell discusses having trust issues and reveals his ex-wife had an abort he initially thought was his child, but she later told him after they were married that the baby was actually another man's. This is Kel's account. She's come out and refuted that, but let's just go ahead and listen to what he had to say on the matter.
Oh man, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It wasn't Liar, but it was Amanda Bynes was supposed to was in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was about a kid that lies and all that stuff like that. But they wanted me to actually be in that movie at first, and I was like, yo, we should put Keenan in it. That would be dope to put Keenan in it, and we both do that because we had a 3-picture deal at Paramount when we were doing that. But they decided that they didn't do the other movies. We just did Good Burger. Okay. But I was doing Mystery Man, so they were like, yo, you should be on that. And I was like, oh yeah, but let's put Keenan in. They were like, nah, I think this is just be with you. And I'm like, no, but I feel like, we got the show, let's do it. And also too, the writer is the same writer I had fallen out with. You know what I mean? That's in the room. And so I'm just like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
And I remember I left out of the room, and all these producers excited about doing this movie.
Right.
And I remember I left out of that room, that situation, and then I saw Keenan, and then I saw Nick, and they were like, "Yeah, we heard about that meeting." They just started laughing.
Right.
And for me, I felt like, yo, y'all was in there fighting for you. You know what I mean? And that kind of hurt at that moment. Thing about me was that relationship is very important, and you need to let people know how you feel. At that time, I really wasn't doing that.
Right.
There was a trust thing. You know what I mean? I had already been through death, within my family in Chicago, and all these things were going on. At this point, both of my uncles was murdered. I had a friend that was murdered that we talked about. Yep. All this happened around the same time. And so there wasn't any, I wasn't seeing any therapist or anything of that nature. I was just working constantly working on the show, and within doing that. And then at that time too, I ended up marrying my ex-wife, because we had another baby. We had the baby, right? We had the abortion, but then we had a baby. And she ended up telling me that the baby that was aborted wasn't mine. And so within that process, you are immedially married within a lie already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So the marriage was never the same after that, was it?
No, it was. This is at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? This is right at the beginning. And so within that process,
she probably should have kept that to herself.
And well, I'm glad she didn't. And so within that process, with that being known, it was just like, yo, and now I'm on TV. All this, I'm still on TV. All this thing, and I don't have time to really process that. And she almost, with even in being, the pregnancy. She almost died within the pregnancy, so that was a hard time too.
Right.
And I remember the some of the writers coming to the set, to the hospital, and they were like bringing presents, and I'm thinking like, oh yeah, cool, thank you. And then they were like, yo, when can you be back on set? And it was just
Bro,
like,
you see what I'm dealing with?
Yeah, we'll see what I'm dealing with. But no shout out to no shade to them. They were doing what they were told as far as a job to see if Kel can be back on set. And I was the one that ended up getting someone pregnant around that time. But I'm just setting up so you understand what was really going on.
Right.
When we get to 2004, you know what I mean,
Yes.
in that process. So and now knowing that this, the kid is is mine, and then now leaving the show, on Nickelodeon, and then I had Mystery Man, this big show, and I'm thinking like, oh yeah, that's gonna be it, you know what I mean, and learning within that process too, where it was like, hey, well, no, I don't want to renew on all that Kenan and Kel, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And I already know what's going on as far as what's happening within this realm of what's going on with the show behind the scenes and what's going on with me. And I was just like, yo, I'm ready to leave anyway. And then Mystery Man didn't do as well as we thought it was going to. You know what I mean? As we thought it was going to do within that process. And then just navigating through that, now being a father. And here's the thing about it is that the reason I didn't have anybody relate to, because I was the first one out of the entire cast to be married, to have a house, have kids, and Kenan, Nick, none of them could relate to that. They were still being kids. And also, too, there was this process of, I got it all together. I already know what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I was doing. You know what I mean? To me, it was like, I can handle this. I can handle this.
Right.
No.
You couldn't.
No, you can't handle this within the star power because you're really going through something that is really deep, and you need to let people know and let people know how you feel and let people know what's on your heart, what's really going on. But I kept it in and was like, I can handle this.
All right. So that's Kel. And, when I saw this interview initially, or this piece of the interview, because I haven't watched the whole thing, I was like, oh, man, I might want to actually tune in and check out what this guy's talking about. I never really sat down and just, gave just a long form objective listen to a Kel Mitchell interview. It seemed like he was being transparent. It seemed very personable, seemed very open, transparent, all the good shit. And in less than a day, all of that came crumbling down, okay? So Mr. Kel Mitchell's ex-wife, Taisha Hampton, comes out in response to his Club Shay Shay interview and claims that he's been lying about all of this and the cheating that he put on her jacket. Okay? What is this? Is this what she's responding to? What's this?
Thing about me was that relationship is very important, and you need to let people know how you feel. At that time, I really wasn't doing that.
Right.
Okay, we already saw that piece. So now let's get into her. She says, story time, who the fuck did I marry? Oh, shit. Y'all know when people start asking who did they marry on TikTok, how that shit go. What you done started, Risa. So let's see what Miss Taisha has to say.
Psycho, and I think, you know what? You get married, you just stay married for the rest of your life. So I figured that I had to accept Kel for who he was because he was my husband. But along the way, I realized that there were just some things that I could not accept. And once I stopped accepting those things that he wanted me to accept, that's when the man got completely psycho and crazy, and this really began the narcissistic nightmare that I'm still I hope people are realizing that this is why this is still trauma, right? Because still, so many years ago, this man is lying about abortions. I mean, just the fact that you're even lying about abortions is crazy. That's really crazy work. But then also to state that because of these fake abortions or because of cheating, you want to...
So you're saying fake abortions as in they never happened? So he just made these up out of the blue sky? They never happened? Ever? Kel, you have to come out and defend yourself, man, because if you coming out here just making this type of shit up out the blue sky and telling us it's green, I need to know what realm you're living in, brother. Come on. I'm gonna let her finish though.
Because of me cheating, this man said he wanted to kill himself. I mean, just think about how narcissistic that sounds, right? Another thing is,
some niggas will. Unfortunately, that's how niggas really be feeling. I can't relate, but that's how some people feeling.
And I want to clarify this very much. In the interview, Kel is acting like, we did not want our son and it was a secret. It was not a secret. It was never a secret. We wanted our son. He's the one who wanted me to get pregnant with the son. We told everybody. Both of our parents knew as soon as we found out that we were pregnant. And so there was no sneaking around. It was not a shock. Every single person knew, and he made it a point to make everybody know. So like, that's even crazy to me, because when this was happening, as soon as I found out that I was pregnant, he was so excited, and his parents, everyone was so excited, and we were all excited. So this is so strange to me, this version of events that he somehow now has. Anyway, so Kel's math isn't mathing. He is not talking about me. I am not the one that is pregnant. It's not even physically possible. The very first time that I had sex, I was impregnated with my son, who is here, and he's alive and well, and there could not have been an abortion in between any of that, because obviously that's not how it works, right? So we were 18 when our first child was born. So I don't know what he's talking about. And then 19, nobody was born. But that's why I'm saying that, I really do think that sometimes when people have mental issues and they have, well, I don't even know if it's a mental issue, really. I just think that Kel is such a bitch that he thinks that this is how, like, he stays famous, is to just act like a poor guy with my wife cheating on me. It makes the stuff that he did to myself and our children more tolerable, because I'm such a terrible whore, slutty woman who sleeps around. Like, what are you talking about? It's really interesting to me, because he lies about stuff that's just ridiculous. Very, very ridiculous. And all of this abortions and all this stuff. And the reason why he says all of these things, I think, are because he's a narcissist. And I have done several videos about how narcissists abuse you at your weakest moments. And so one thing that I had to do, and I'm also a mathematician, so I'm always paying attention to patterns, and I had made a journal. In my journal, I realized that, oh my gosh, that Kel physically abuses me anytime I come out of the hospital, because that's when I'm at my...
Now, I wasn't aware of any physical... Wow. So... that's an extra piece that's been added to the pot. It wasn't just about, that or cheating, but now we're talking about physical altercation. Damn, Kel, what the fuck's going on, man? I would say you should have kept this shit to yourself if you knew this was coming out, but I honestly can't even say that, because if what she's saying is true, then I guess it is what it is at this point. You know what I mean? Like, you were going to be revealed at some point. Now, we do have to give people an opportunity to speak for themselves when allegations come out, but if that's how it went down, brother, you might want to shut this shit down. Whatever press tour you're doing right now, if you're trying to get sympathy and try to play this role, hey man, you might want to simmer your pot down. Shit, man. I don't know if you've served time for any of this type of shit, if you've ever been booked, on the heels of any of this type of shit that she can verify. But shit is getting messy, man. This is, again, I talk about the mass exodus in music and entertainment from a lot of these guys. Everybody's getting outed, and at some point, we're gonna be stuck with just a few people left. And I'm not even mad about it, It's just gonna be what it is. I'm gonna let her finish though.
My weakest. And so I think that what Kel is trying to do, he's trying to recreate the story to make there be a reason other than the fact that I'm really sick and I have a critical disease, and so I'm forced to go to the hospital a lot. And so he doesn't want anybody to feel sorry for me with all the medical records. So instead, he's trying to equate me going to the hospital with abortions, which is, unfortunately what these kinds of narcissists do. And the older that they get, obviously the better that they get, because I'm sure nobody would even think to put those two together. But I always would have to think about what Kel was thinking, because this is just what happens when you're in these kinds of relationships that are abusive, because you're constantly trying to figure out, like, how do they get to these crazy ideas in their head. And so you're constantly just trying to figure them out. I don't know. That was just me. I was constantly trying to figure this man out for the majority of our relationship. So, well, that's about the abortions. I guess I'll have to do some more videos.
Well, I mean, at this rate, keep them coming so we could actually get to the bottom of this thing.
Crazy and
get to the bottom of this thing. Kel, what's going on, brother? You got some splaining to do. Man, I don't want no more audio playing. Please and thank you. Let me close this damn tab. You're going to have to get to the bottom of this, brother. Now, in these situations, it's typically someone's word against the other. You can't always jump to conclusions, and that's not to say that she's lying, because I don't want to put that in the atmosphere. But I'm just saying, there are instances where people have been proven to craft stories. He may be the one crafting the story in this predicament. You know what I'm saying? If she comes out, starts showing receipts of all of this type of stuff and whatever went down with them, hey man, it just is what it is. I don't know if Kel has gotten therapy or gotten help for whatever anger issues that he's developed over the time in his life and career. But if that's what it takes for you to improve and get better and do what you need to do, keep yourself in check, you might want to go check in, brother. All right. So that's our show. We've been on here over an hour. I wasn't really intending on being on here this long, but that interview with Cardi B and talking about the album and all of that stuff took a little bit longer than intended. But at this juncture, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Much love and respect. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I appreciate y'all rocking with me, staying this whole time. I appreciate y'all, becoming insiders. Those of y'all that are, especially those that partake in the actual chat. Much love and respect. We greatly appreciate y'all over here. I'll be back tomorrow with more content. Y'all know I try to stay consistent as possible. We even got 3 videos out today, man. We doing our thing. But I will see y'all shortly. Be sure to chime in. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. And again, if this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider. But also be aware that to become an insider, you got to have good energy. You got to have good energy. That is going to be a #1 requirement as an insider. Okay. You can refer to my last video to understand why I'm saying that. All right. I'm going to catch y'all a little bit later. Much love and respect. Y'all enjoy your evening. I'm out, y'all. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef on computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. First I'm out, I came back with some batteries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.